Hi, welcome to Finite Pi Videos. This is DC here. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate some of the important features of ICODE SLI-S tag. This is the continuation of the previous video. In the last video, we just highlighted some of the features of SLI-S, and also the software was not ready to demonstrate. So in this video, we have a working software, and I'm going to show using the PN5180 board. So these are some of the important things you have to remember about SLI-S tags. So there is no command called get multiple security status command. Now you have seen this command working with all the previous ISO 15693 tags. This command returns whether the block is locked or not. So this command is not present in this tag. Now the concept of page is very much used in this tag. So you have to understand this page concept, and the page concept is used in the access control. Now we have seen the last video, this tag has got altogether 10 pages starting from page number 0 to page number 9, and each page has got 4 blocks. The lock and access rights mechanism, whether it's a read password protected, write password protected, now this access control applies at the page level. And however, keep in mind, even though there are 10 pages, you don't have 10 different read and write passwords. There's only one read and one write password. So what you can do with the password is you can have some pages that are public, that is there's no password required, and some pages can be protected with the read password, and some pages could be protected with the write password, or some could be protected with the both read as well as write. So this is the point I just mentioned. The lock, there is a command called lock page protection condition. We are going to see the working of this command. And there is a new command, this is a custom command called get multiple block protection status command. Looks like this is a bit of an advanced version of the first one. Now this command will return for every block what are the access rights applicable to the block. Say for example, I have a block in a page, and if that block has been locked forever, you'll get the information. Assume that a block has got a read password protect, you'll get that information. Or if a block is a read and write password protected, you get that information. So this is in some kind of a advanced version of this basic command. So even though when I mentioned that this command is not present, we're not going to miss anything. So whatever this command is to produce is available through this command. And keep in mind, this command is not the mandatory command. This is the optional command. If you look at the specification of ISO 15693, the get multiple security status is a optional, comes under the optional command. We are going to see the working of inventory page read. Now we have seen this, we have more or less, I would say 90% of what you already know about inventory page read also works here. The only difference is, in addition to the data, you'll also get the page protection status, and also the way it works is not pretty straightforward, and I'm going to demonstrate later. So here in the inventory page read command, if you remember the way this command is to work with the other tags, so this command takes the first block and the number of blocks to read, whereas here we're going to specify the first page and number of pages to read. So that's the only difference. So you end up getting, that there are 4 blocks in a page, so you end up getting all the 4 blocks in the page. Now this software has got, this software is not ready yet to show the EPC command. Remember, one of the reason why I wanted to make a video on SLI-S is because it has got a EPC commands. So, and also for EPC command you must have a reader that supports EPC command. Now we have seen that the PN5180 has a inbuilt EPC commands. I'm not very sure how this thing work at this point of time. Probably in later videos I'm going to probably use the EPC commands present in the PN5180 board. And this demonstration I'll be using the software that works with the PN5180 and Arduino board. And probably if you are working on the OmniKey 5022, and as soon as the feature this SLI-S is added to that, you will automatically get an update. And probably I will also try to make a video in the future. So with this background, okay, we are ready for the demonstration now. You can see I have connected my Arduino and PN5180 board, and I always mention this, you must have a copy of the datasheet. So you can get this from the manufacturer website. And this, if you have seen my videos on the earlier tags like SLI or SLI-X2 tag, you can easily understand every line of this tag. So I would like to, since we are focused more on the commands, if you go to the command set and expand, and we know that this tag supports two types of commands. One is the ISO15693, the other one is the EPC command. And the long range command, this is also kind of related to EPC. Now I will not be covering the EPC commands in this video because something which I don't know. So probably in future videos I'll be covering that. Now you can quickly go through some of these commands. Most of the commands we have already discussed in detail in my earlier videos. So there is no new command here. If you compare these commands with the SLI-X2 command, everything is already covered. But there are some commands that work in a little bit different way compared to SLI-X2 tag. That's the one, and I'm going to focus in this video. The most important feature of this SLI-S is the way the paging works. Now SLI-X2 had only 2 pages, the lower page and H page, whereas here you got 10 pages altogether, and each page has got 4 blocks. So that's exactly what you're going to study in detail in this video. Now I'm going to place a brand new SLI-S tag. You can see here. So I'm going to go to the screen, activate, and I'm going to I can quickly run through all the basic stuff you usually do with the tag. Get the information. This returns you how many blocks it has got. You got AFI, you got DSFID. I can change the AFI 01 set. I've changed the AFI. I'm going to change the DSFID 02 set. It works. Now I'm going to hit this button. This is going to read the content of all the 40 blocks, which is here. And on the software, a new column is shown here. So this shows the page the block belongs to. See, the first 4 block, the block 0 to 3 belongs to page 0. The next 4 blocks belong to block page 1, and likewise there are altogether 10 pages with the page number from 0 to 9. So that's what it's all paging about. Other things like you can write, I can write anything here. Okay, you can write it. For a brand new tag, the write operations are not protected by any password. They're very open. If you go to the SLI tab, you can see the alarm. The alarm is in fact for a brand new tag you'll never see this alarm thing. Probably my developers must have enabled this alarm. So I'm going to reset. Click on alarm. You can't enable it. Alarm. Now reset the alarm is also possible. There is no protection for a brand new tag. And you can also write the EAS ID. I'm going to, for a brand new tag, the EAS ID is not defined. I'm going to write EAS ID as 1 2 3 4. Write that EAS ID has been written. Okay. And I'm going to come back to this, but this is you'll understand this better once I tell you more about the pages. If you go to, this is a new tab which is added here, and also if you have seen my earlier videos, most of this content are taken from SLI-X2 tag. some of the things are removed. Say for example, here probably there's a few buttons are missing. Now here is where you set the password. You can have the read password, write password, privacy password, destroy password, ES password. The default value of all these passwords are zeros. And next is the page protection. There's a little change here, so you can set the protection for each page differently. Now I can have page 0, which is unprotected, anybody can read and write. I can have page 1 as protected by read protection. That means we want a password to be sent for any before a read can happen. I can have page 2, which is protected with the write password. So I need the password only for write operation. Or I can have page 4 with set both read and write. So in order to read and write, you must have both the password set. So here we are making so we're getting some kind of a 64-bit password protection rather than a 32-bit password. So I'm going to show that soon. Next you got this is a command which is not present in the earlier tags. This is called multiple block protection status. If you have seen the earlier tags, there was a button here called multiple security that is not there. Now this command, now again, if you always you have to go to this documentation to understand what it is. Now if you hit this get multiple protection status, now you will get so here for every block, this is going to return you this information. This is very interesting. The log bit, if you remember the ISO 15693 command called get multiple security status, so that used to return just the log bit of every byte. Here you get for every block, here for every block you get whether the block is locked. So this covers the missing the get multiple status command. In addition to that, you'll also come to know whether the block is protected with read password, or is protected with write password, or protected with both read and write. Now this is just a bit operations. You just have to decode these 4 bits. And also whether the page protection is completely locked. I'm going to demonstrate that soon. Now, other than that, you got enable privacy. That means you can when the privacy is enabled, this tag will not respond to any standard commands. You have to first go through the random number and send the privacy password. This is the way to protect the data from reading. I can configure system for protection. We have seen the way this works in SLI-X2 tag, exactly the same. You can destroy the tag. If this tag is used in a book or any product, once the product is it's sold, you can destroy this tag so that nobody can reuse it. You can protect EAS. This is basically what you had for SLI, which is called protect EAS and AFI. Now there is no AFI protection here. You can just protect the EAS. It basically what it means is the protect EAS controls whether you can set, reset and lock. So in order to do this, you can set a password so that before somebody set or reset or lock, they have to first key in the password. So that's how it works. Now other than that, this is the command we just added. I've added a EPC section here, which at present, if you just hit, this is something I can show you right away, because every tag, in theory, what the book says is this EPC code can be written once. Now for a brand new tag, the EPC code is 00. So far we still don't know how to set the value of EPC. Now there is a command here. If you go to the documentation, now if you see this, read EPC. So send all this command. This is a custom command, so you must have the manufacturer code, and what you get is the 96 bits EPC. But so far we just don't know how to set the EPC. Probably, I think setting the EPC code is part of the EPC command set, and also there is a reference to what needs reading. Now we have to read. If you go to internet and look for EPC specification and all this stuff, you will get a 154 page document. So that's what we are going to do in the next videos. So before we play the password, I'm going to change the password from the default to something a different number. I'm going to set, so what we did just now is we got the random number. We are going to change the read password. First you're going to set, you have to set the old password. Set the old password. Okay, set password works only address mode. So set the old password and change the password to 1. Write it. Now same thing, I'm going to change the right password. So before you change the right password, you have to send the old password. I'm going to change this as a 2. Write the password. Do the same thing, privacy password set, change that to 3. And keep in mind, when this tag is used in a software system, all these password are driven out by like by the UID and some extra additional information, which is called diversification of UID. Want to change the destroy password, set the password, change this to 4, write it, change the ES password, change this to 5, write it. So now we have changed all the password. Now let's go with this page protection. So here you can go from 0 to 9. Now depending on your software design, you can control what is allowed in each of this page. Now assume that I have put the name of the customer. So probably now you assume that you have put the customer details, and you want that to be depends. Okay, maybe that's not the best example. Probably if I put the customer details here, probably now I would have locked this block so that nobody can change it. And I think the easiest way to understand this is writing. Okay, so I don't want anybody to write the first 2 pages without a password. So I'm going to show that we are able to write now. So write is possible. So what I'm going to do now is change this password to change the page number to 0, and but default is public. I'm going to set this right. And before you do that, you have to keep in mind you must have sent the right password to them. Just what I mean to say is, so assume that we started from here. Now I would like to change the password. Just get the data. So I want to change the page protection of page 0, 1, 2, so on. Now I have to first send my password. I have to tell the tag that I know the password. So get this password. Now we know the password, right password is 2. Set it. Set the password. So I'm going to clean this so that we can go through some of this command structure. Now I want to protect the page 0 and page 1 with the right password. So set the page 0, set to right, and say right. Now page protect. Okay, if you look at the commands, this is in fact, because the address flag is set, it's sending all the things, but you still have to make sure whether the address mode is required or not. Again, the documentation will tell us whether you need address mode. So if you go to page protect here, somewhere it will mention the document whether you have to send there's something. If you look at the command structure, looks like the UID, it says 64 bits, and it doesn't tell us that it's an optional. So by looking at this command structure, it means this command is always sent in the address mode. If you look at other commands, where you will see, for example, not this one, looks like most of these commands are if you look at this one, so enable privacy, here the UID is optional. So it means I can run this command either in address mode or without address mode. Whereas if you look at this structure, I'm not sure whether it's a problem with the mistake in the documentation or the protect page. Okay, let's give it a try. What I'm going to do is, we want to protect page 1 and page 2. I'm going to go to page 1 and I'm going to remove address mode. Okay, now we still have the right password set. So now you don't have to keep on sending the right password. So the tag knows we know the right password. It will allow us to do the page configuration. So I want page 1 to also have a write protection. I'm going to set this, say write. Now look at that. Looks like we got a positive response. So we have to check this with the manufacturer whether they missed the optional 64 bits or not. Okay, we just saw it works. Now this command, the first command, was sent in address mode where all the 8 bytes of UID is present here, and the second one was sent without address mode. It has got just the command, the page, and also now what type of configuration you want here. Now here we are setting the page 0 1 with the value 1 0. Again you have to go to this data sheet here. In order to write protect, you must send 1 0. For read protect, you have to set 0 1, and this is, remember, it's not 1 2 3, it is the 0 1, and this is a 1 0 hex. It's not just 2. Okay, so it is 1 0 hex. So this will be, now if you convert this to, it's a 16, basically decimal 16, this is decimal 17. So now we have protected the page 0 and page 1 from writing. Now let's see if this works for us. I'm going to reactivate and bring the entire tag information. So I'm going to try to change this the block 2, say clear, say write. Now we got a write error. The reason is we know this is write protected. Yeah, let's try something different now. Now I'm going to use this multiple block protection status command. Now here you don't have to, here you can choose the block numbers you're interested to know about the protection status. So I'm going to try with, we know we just played with the 2 pages. That means we played with the block 0 to block 7. So change first block to 0, number of blocks to 7. Again you have to refer the command structure. So I'm going to say get. Now look at that. We got, if you look at the response here, now this is the successful response. For all the 8 pages we received 0 4. So you have to go back to the data sheet. Now look for get status here, and you have to decode these numbers. Now what I got is this one. The bit 1 tells you whether it's a locked or not locked. Then we got 0 4. So we got 0 0 and 1. So if you convert this to decimal, okay, this for all, and all these bit B5 to B8 are reserved, they're all 0. So we received 0 and 4. So 0 4 is the third bit that's set to 1, which says it's write password protected. That's exactly what we got for all the 8 blocks. So this command will tell us whether the block is protected in whether read or write or locked. Now in order to write, I'm going to get a new random number, send the right password, set. Now go to address mode, set the right password. Now try to write. Now look at that, we are able to write successfully. Okay, now let's try with the what you can also do is, so I want this page protection configuration locked. So it means I don't want anybody else to go and change. See, now I can go and change this. I can remove this thing. In fact, I can go and remove this protection. If I know the password, I can remove it. Assume that we want to lock this forever. Now, in order to remove that, you just have to, we already authenticated here. I'm going to set this to public. Say right. Look at that. We are just reverted back this protection to public. If I go and hit this get, look at that, it's all gone. Now we'll go back and set this to right. Page number 1, I want to write protect, right. Now I want this configuration to be locked. Now go to page 0, say lock. It says you cannot unlock this you can't undo this page protection locking. Say yes. Now we got an error, so we just have to say why. Now if you look at the documentation, something which I myself did not understand well, it says to lock the page protection command, you have to first, it says it can be locked if the related password read and write has been transmitted before the set password. If the page is public, no password is required. I could never get this thing done. Okay, looks like we have to set both the read and write password. Let's go with the set this password as well. Set. Now if I try to lock, look at that. Now I'm still not very sure why we need a read password, because this page is protected with the right password, but if the tag works, if the tag requires both read and write, we just have to stick with that. Okay, we just locked page 0. I'm going to lock page 1 as well. Lock. Now both the page configuration, remember we just locked the page configuration, we never locked the block. It's still writable. Remember, if I had locked the block, then you cannot write anything to the block. Now these are the commands. Again, probably we have gone with the address mode here. If you look at the flags. Now if I now go and hit the get here, so we get, if you look at the output, this time we got 0C. Now you just have to decode the value of 0C. So this will give you the write, and it's locked as well. So if you go here, so this is going to give you the write, and that these two bits are set. Now this is 1, this is 1, this is 0, and this is 0. So convert this to hex. You got 0 0 0 1 1 0 0. So this is 0 and this is C. So it is, for this block the page protection is locked. And sometimes rather than repeating this lock all 4 times, probably you can change the structure of the screen and show all the 8 pages and show the corresponding lock and unlock. Okay, now it's locked. Now I cannot change this structure anymore. Let's give it a try. Activate. Now read. So get the status. And if we try to, I'm going to send both the read and write password. Set. set the read password, set the right password. I'll try to change it to public this time. Say right, we got error because it's already locked. So from this point on, you cannot change the page protection for page 0 and page 1.